I'm Simon Moores, Managing Director of Benchmark Mineral Intelligence.
You've written in a recent report that the market for batteries is looking real. You're seeing there's demand also from portables, but also what's happening in the automotive market and what's also happening with utilities.
Well, we've seen over the last 10 years a handheld revolution almost with mobile technology, smartphones, tablets, laptops, and I think we're on the verge now of a second phase of much bigger batteries, especially electric vehicles and utility batteries, and that really is going to require much larger volumes of critical raw materials like graphite, lithium, and cobalt.
What are the elements then that go into a battery?
A battery, any battery, is made of three main components. That's the anode, the cathode, and the separator. Now, the anode and the cathode are where the minerals are used. Anode is carbon, mostly basically graphite, synthetic or natural, and the cathode is lithium usually, and a blend of other minerals and metals like cobalt, could be phosphate, depending on the chemistry.
You were in Vancouver and you were talking to some local companies and juniors. What are they telling you, the people that are serving this market?
They're saying there's a demand, certainly for information at the moment. For people want to know where the market's heading and when the tipping point will come. That's a tipping point for increased demand in electric vehicles or utilities. They're saying they're not actually seeing real demand for minerals yet. That's continuing along the growth rates of smartphones, but they're waiting. They're expecting a tipping point in the next 2 years, and that's when they expect, and I expect, to see real demand from electric vehicles take off.
Is it going to be the electrical vehicles, or is it going to be the utilities that you're going to be seeing that the demand is coming from, or is it going to be a bit of both?
A bit of both, really. I mean, it's not a question of if now with those markets. It's more a question of when and at what rate. Electric vehicles, especially with what Tesla have done in the last year and with their plan for the Gigafactory, means there's going to be an increased supply of lithium-ion batteries on the market from these new mega factories that are being built. That's Tesla, LG, Foxconn. With increased supply, you have lower costs, and then you would see increased uptake in both the EVs and in utilities.
There's the investor side, people that are looking at this market. How do they look at the market, and what do they see? What do those clients need?
It's a bit difficult from the investor side, really, because their question is, well, if you're not seeing huge demand today, when will it come? Therefore, they're not ready to commit their money into these lithium and graphite companies at present. But usually, the investor side plays catch up anyway to when real demand spikes happen. We saw that in lithium and cobalt back in early 2000s when the initial spike was from the smartphones. Then the junior rush came a couple of years after that. So usually it's a 2-year lag on the investment scene when when there's a supply squeeze in these existing industries.
Can you speak about the opportunity then going forward? You've broken out the elements that exist with batteries, but what is the difference right now between somebody doing cobalt or somebody doing lithium or somebody doing graphite?
The whole point about it's not just about mining these minerals. They're not commodities, really. They're specialist products. So once digging them out of the ground isn't the challenge, really. It's creating a specialist chemical product that the battery producers can use. That challenge is the same for graphite, lithium, and cobalt. Certainly those that want to serve the battery industry.
You recently talked in one of your outlooks, one of your reports, that we saw a peak for graphite coming out. Why has there been a peak in graphite in China?
We think peak graphite has been hit in China for 2 reasons, really. China is cutting back its supply. It's still going to be the #1 producer of graphite, but it's putting back supply through consolidation of its 2 main areas, Shandong, Heilongjiang. At the same time, supply is increasing slowly outside of China. We saw a new mine in Sweden and a new mine in Madagascar. So you're seeing a change, not a changing of the guard, but a slow shift away from China for graphite, which is why we think China has produced its maximum amount of flake graphite in 2011.
You recently opened a business, Benchmark. Can you tell me a bit more about your new company?
Yeah, Benchmark is an information provider, but we're specifically focusing on critical raw materials, disruptive technology, and emerging markets like China. The focus is especially on the battery supply chain at present. So we try to collect our own data, do our own in-house analysis, and give our own opinions on the market. And we give free products away, such as a weekly newsletter, where people can sign up at benchmarkminerals.com.
Thank you very much.
It's great. Thank you, Mike.